The following YouTube video contains historic campaign ads, policies, and rhetoric that may be offensive, racist, xenophobic, and just mid. The use of such extreme language has been kept in as a way to show American history in its truest and rawest form. You have been warned. Oh yeah, this is also an Imagine Creativity video, so
What's up, my fellow Americans and non-Americans? I hope you all are doing well, because I'm not. It's because I live in America, baby!
What the hell is that supposed to mean, brother? Are you trying to tell me that I've been sharing a bunk bed with a dirty commie?
No, it's not like that. I just think it's a polarizing time in this country, and I just thought I could make some fun of it, you know, have some...
Okay.
Oh, thank God. Okay, I knew you'd understand, man. Thank you.
Commie.
What did you just blow up?
I have no clue.
America's the home of Ted Cruz, Mitch McConnell, Marjorie Taylor Greene, which, if you don't know who Ted Cruz is, lucky you. But he's basically what Dracula would look like if he got jumped by a liberal arts girl, and of course said he got over her, but instead developed an aggressive binge eating disorder and did everything in his power to prove to Amelia he grew. And she was the one in the wrong. And that's exactly what I want to talk about with today's video. No, not Amelia with her beautiful skin, her amazing laugh, oh, the way she plays with her hair. Instead, I want to talk politics. And don't worry, I'm not going to become a political channel. I just thought, America's kind of goofy. It's got some silly ads. We just have to talk about today. I honestly believe I have found the most out there and crazy ads that the gun Desert Eagle state has to offer. And when I say the worst, dude, I mean the worst. So I figured today we could look at the craziest American political ads that are out there and figure out the who, what, why, when, how, ow, it hurts, and maybe figure out how we got into the abyss we're in, man. So without further ado, let's all set down our 25 fraudulent voter mail-in ballots and jump straight into the abyss we're in, baby. Come on, roll. Come on, do the transition. The year is 2024. What a time to be alive. What a weird world we live in. Huh? Where we turn on the TV and we get greeted with something like this.
This Eric puts rifles in his ads, and Eric Schmidt plays with a blowtorch, so I brought my chainsaw.
It's a wonderful world filled with fear-mongering, AI images, and people doing transgender operations on illegal aliens in prison. Wait, what?
Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison. This is a radical left liberal.
So how did we get here? A landscape plagued with guns.
You've heard about all my guns.
Fake fears.
The president claims the caravan includes terrorists from the Middle East and members of drug gangs.
We will fully secure our border, and we will keep the criminal drug dealers, predators, and terrorists the hell out of our country.
There's no proof that any of this is true.
And Mike Lindell.
257,000 votes. This happened last week. A judge ruled in Georgia that are missing from the 2020 election.
So
this just came out. You're behind.
So your sources trust me, bro? That's your source?
And honestly, I think there's only one way we can get to the bottom of this. Are you fucking kidding me? 1 second. Hello?
The voice on the other line felt vaguely familiar. Like a voicemail of a loved one or a sports injury coming back from the past to remind you the time's cruel game we all play.
Oh God, no, I don't need your help.
But deep down, he needed my help, and I was gonna give it the best way I knew how. I was gonna piece back together the broken mirror of the past, only shattered by the strained hands of the present.
Are you done?
Title card.
What?
Title card.
Dude, what are you talking about? The year is 1952. The presidential race was heated. It was between Dwight Eisenhower and the future president, 𝙿𝚕𝚎𝚅. And may I just say, the race was pretty tight. So Ike, Mr. Eisenhower, I can call you that, right? Okay, cool. What a stupid nickname, huh? Ike? More like Psych. Shit sucks, dude. The youngster himself decided he needed a new way to promote himself, so he looked to a new marvel in technology, television. And honestly, the plan was simple, but genius. Use a 30-second slot and talk about your policies, your values, and why the American people should vote for you. And that's what he did.
Eisenhower answers America. General, the Democrats are telling me I never had it so good. Can that be true when America is billions in debt? When prices have doubled, when taxes break our backs, and we are still fighting in Korea? It's tragic, and it's time for a change.
And this idea might seem routine and monotonous to us now, but back then, that threw everyone for a loop, including future President 𝙿𝚕𝚎𝚅. But by doing this, Ike was like me every Christmas trying to figure out which son of a bitch took my choo-choo train check. And what I mean by that is he was in people's homes and he was reaching a record amount of people and spreading his message, making the tight race even tighter. But the 𝙿𝚕𝚎 campaign had a whole different view on the televised ad format. 𝙿𝚕𝚎 himself even saying, and I quote,
𝙿𝚕𝚎, sir, what are your thoughts on these teletunes that your opponent is playing in between the telewatches? Thanks for the question. I fully believe that the American people's minds can be persuaded and manipulated by art slogans or advertisements, you hear?
Showing in full colors his full distaste for running teletune ads, and even his campaign saying something that I think still runs and rings so true with modern campaigns and the current political climate. Presidential campaigns will eventually have professional actors as candidates.
Bruh.
And this quote would be so profound and telling of what's to come with America if they weren't a bunch of commie hypocrites. Even after shitting on televised campaign ads, they put a few out themselves. And get this, as far as I know, 𝙿𝚕𝚎 currently holds the record for the oldest televised attack ad.
Step right up, folks. See the mental marvel of the campaign, Mr. GOP. He promises to solve all your problems. Ask him any question.
What about Korea?
We don't belong in Korea. Let the commies have it. We should expand the war. Open a second front in China.
Wait a minute. We can't do both. We can't pull our troops out of Korea and invade China.
Go away, lady. You bother me. Any more questions?
What about aid to Europe?
I'll personally tear down the Iron Curtain. Not another nickel down that rat hole. Let the commies have it.
That's double talk.
What are you complaining about? You get two policies for the price of one.
Which means 𝙿𝚕𝚎 is the original G. Put some respect on my man's name. I mean, how fucking gangster is that shit to take a new vein of media and inject hatred straight into those veins, baby? That shit is hard, dude. Like, I'm so sorry, Ike, but I'm pretty sure 𝙿𝚕𝚎's got this shit in the bag, dude. Oh, wait. You have a response? Yeah, go ahead, play it.
You like Ike, I like Ike, everybody likes Ike for president. Hang out the banner, beat the drum, we'll take Ike to Washington.
That's all you got? Oh my god. You're not Eisenhower. You're Ike Turner.
Don't you? And then this is where I would snap her or something.
So believe it or not, as long as televised campaign ads have been around, candidates have been pitching these claims at their other candidates. I mean, yeah, they're not these 99 per hour fastballs that we see in modern day ads, but we'll get there. But still, right away we notice one of the stone pillars of campaign ads.
Credibility. It's as feeble as a man pushed to the edge, on the verge of losing himself, losing everything. Without it, we're like the crumbs from last night's drunken stupor. Absolutely useless.
Yeah, what he said. It's a staple of getting people to listen to you. If you question your opponent's credibility, it automatically gives you the upper hand. This kind of faux credibility for the time being, making you GOAT. And we see that with years to come with likes of Nixon, George W. Bush, and even more Adley.
Ike. Bob. Ike. Bob. I'm so glad we're friends again, Bob. Yes, Ike. We agree on everything. Let's never separate again, Bob. Never again, Ike. Bob.
I mean, this dude dropped a diss track on someone.
I'd rather have a man with a hole in his shoe than a hole in everything he says. I'd rather have a man who knows what to do when he gets to be the prez.
That's hard. All these campaign ads that ran from the 50s to the 80s ran on three major things: fear, credibility, and plain old jabs. It's honestly a lot like a nuclear arms boxing match. And speaking of nuclear arms and the complete and utter destruction of the human race, we can't talk insane campaign ads if we don't bring up the most notorious nuclear daddy out there. We all know who he is. The death row records of campaigns, the catalyst to modern campaign ads, Lyndon B. Johnson. You know, that weird third grader's favorite president. Lyndon's most well-known ad, which some of you guys may have seen, is labeled Daisy. It portrays a young girl in... This isn't gonna do it justice. I'm just gonna show you guys.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 6, 8, 9.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
These are the stakes. To make a world in which all of God's children can live, or to go into the dark. We must either love each other, or we must die.
Vote for President Johnson on November 3rd. The stakes are too high for you to stay home.
I mean, that's pretty grim, right? I mean, these are the stakes. This is what we choose as Americans. This is fear-mongering. Fear-mongering, the act of using the fear of death, race, religion, creed, or even the unknown to sway, in this instance, your vote. And we see this today with likes of immigration, inflation, the economy, and the newest boogeyman, the LGBTQ community, and trans people. For no good reason. And I'm sure some of you guys are sitting there watching this Daisy ad thinking,
but imagine the situation was so much more dire.
But was it? Or did it just work on you too? And before we get into why fear affects us the way it does and the news that perpetuates it infinitely, I want to show you guys one more ad from this time period from the Nuke Daddy Johnson himself that I'm just going to have to level with you, has some pretty graphic language and makes my fucking skin crawl.
We represent the majority of the people in Alabama who hate niggerism, Catholicism, Judaism, and all the isms of the whole world. So said Robert Creel of the Alabama Ku Klux Klan. He also said, I like Barry Goldwater. He needs our help.
But why do they do this? Is it really because we're all just scared? Or is there more to it? And trust me, I don't want to act like I'm a psychiatrist or some pretentious prick that acts like he knows what he's saying, so what I say, take it with a grain of salt. But I truly do believe that these campaign ads present a problem and instill fear into the watcher, giving them this newfound fear even subconsciously on the subject. But while doing so, they also tell you quietly and sometimes not so quietly that they're the voice of reason. They are the savior in this. To us, it's black and white, win or lose. And they make it very clear from the get-go that if they don't win, the results are gonna be dire. So we buy it. Whether you like it or not, we do. But hey, just like my ex used to say,
Jesus Christ, you're always so negative. It's not all that bad. I said he was smaller than you. God. Are you fucking crying? You're pathetic.
but she's right. I am pathetic, and there is good campaigns out there. Like the real GOAT? Jimmy fucking Carter, man.
An unfair system of government. These are the people forgotten.
With others following behind like Clinton,
education and healthcare,
Reagan,
The leadership of President.
even though
fuck Reagan.
Things have been looking up in the country. Today, the economy is up. Taxes and inflation are down. Americans are working again. And so is America.
all my homies hate Reagan, but there's still some kind of inkling of decency before the turn of the millennia. But trust me, that didn't last long. But with that being said, we've reached the millennia where presidents are dead and inklings of what to come, end woke, no rights, and freedom to guns. The early 2000s. What a time to be alive, baby. The internet was in a full swing. America pulled itself into conflicts in the Middle East that would last us a good old 20 years. And of course, the attacks on 9/11. But these simple things would sear into the minds of most Americans, allowing influential figures to pop up and play with fear. So honestly, the early 2000 candidates kind of played by the same old playing book that Reagan, Ike, and the whole other camp of the past millennia did, which was pretty boring. But either way, Americans were subjected to the same run-of-the-mill tactics. Fear-mongering.
They would have weakened America's defenses. And weakness attracts those who are waiting.
Questioning your child's future if they're not in office.
Today we live in a world of terror, madmen and missiles. Our military is challenged by aging weapons and low morale.
Pleading with you for the sake of the economy and a brighter future, if you just vote for them.
Our economy, I think, still, the fundamentals of our economy are strong.
And a brand new tactic that was coming out of the woodworks in full swing. Immigration and war.
These people want to kill us. They killed hundreds of innocent children in Russia, 200 innocent commuters in Spain, and 3,000 innocent Americans. John Kerry has a 30-year record of supporting cuts in defense and intelligence, and endlessly changing positions on Iraq. Would you trust Kerry up against these fanatic killers? President Bush didn't start this war, but he will finish it.
War has changed. The age of deterrence has become the age of control. All in the name of averting catastrophe from weapons of mass destruction. And he who controls the battlefield controls history.
The year is 2003, and the presidential race is between an untrimmed Bush and Kirby's less desirable cousin, Kerry. The race is hot, and Howard Dean decided not to take a nomination in favor of becoming a voice actor for a Skyrim companion. Intentions could not be any higher. It's a cutthroat race, just like Adlai's first presidential term when he was going against Ike.
Actually, Adlai never made it to presidency. He lost. Never made it to the biggest power in the free world.
I know, dude. I'm sure they do too. It's an ongoing joke.
But it really is. Do you like spreading misinformation or something?
Yeah.
Oh, bet.
So Kerry and Bush start throwing the same old run-of-the-mill campaign ads, but it just wasn't hitting the same. So naturally, they start fiending for some more. They want to get their fix, and they stumble onto something great. And in late 2003, as the presidential race was wrapping up, Bush pulled out the AR-15 out of his child's storybook and released
John Kerry is brave enough to raise taxes. That's good.
I like John Kerry. He will put America out of the war on terrorism.
We love Kerry. We love liberals.
He's like a Ted Kennedy, only fever.
A vote for Kerry is a vote for France.
If I could vote for Kerry, I would.
Okay, ignoring the fact that these are not French people, and trust me, I know French people. I worked there.
Dude, I gotta get to you. Yes.
These talking points that are being brought up are a lot more dystopian sitcom than we're used to. And before this, we did see candidates make cartoons, themes, and bleak outlooks on their ops, but now the candidates' coalitions and PACs are really starting to show their teeth at their prey.
And weakness attracts those who are waiting.
We no longer just see the presidential campaign fund making ads for these people. We now see these companies and super PACs start to make ads for the candidate that would benefit them the most. A super PAC is a type of independent political action committee which may raise unlimited sums of money from corporations, unions, and individuals, but is not permitted to contribute or coordinate directly with parties or their candidates, which makes it one of the first openly self-preservational rubrics out there. And as times change, these PACs can align and do align themselves with entities that they're affiliated with or may benefit with. And in theory, pushes a rhetoric that could sway a person's vote while also keeping them misinformed of the true intentions behind the ad. These ads start to take a step towards accusational statements,
When he votes with Bush 90% of the time.
anti-American opposition claims,
3. Taxes on the middle class will go up by $4,000. 4. Energy prices will continue to go up.
and a growing division within the party system itself. They really started making the term attack ad mean I mean, I really wonder what someone like Ike would think about this. A word? But these ads are really the groundwork for what's to come.
And by what's to come, you mean the radical leftist ideals of putting the deep state in charge of American elections, turning everyone into soft, supple-skinned snowflakes, right?
Wait, you think this is all planned?
I mean, yeah, they have to have a plan, or at least
concepts of a plan.
But don't worry, just like an authoritarian dictator, they got a goofy side.
Ten cuidado del nombre Bush, ten cuidado que Irak ha sido un fracaso. Ten cuidado del nombre Bush, no seguirá lloviendo sobre mojado.
Myself.
I have had conversations with leaders.
I'm George W. Bush, and I approve this message.
Some people have wacky ideas, like taxing gasoline more so people drive less. That's John Kerry.
But while the presidential campaigns were doing their usual hellscape antics and setting the stage for what's to come in modern campaign ads, something more hellish itself was brewing in local government. In this time, cameras became a lot more readily available for people like you or me, which meant most campaigns wanted to be like me. A talk tour. And with the ability for someone like you or me to openly express and try to represent our city, towns, or precincts more better, you got a lot more fucking losers running for office. I'm talking about you, Kilpatrick. Fuck you. But with this, we start to get some insane ads.
Purity, piety, are fiscal conservative leaders, men we admire, aspire to be. Wholesome, honorable, true believers. Men like Tom Campbell, who would never lead us astray, his pedestal so high.
leaving but one way to fall. Tom Campbell, is he what he tells us? Or is he what he's become over the years? A FCINO, fiscal conservative in name only. A wolf in sheep's clothing.
What? What's so wrong with that? A wolf in sheep's clothing? Sounds pretty fucking alpha to me, dude. But that's the problem with the government, man. It's full of beta cucks who don't drink the water bottles all in one sip and sleep with women for pleasure. It makes me sick. We need a real man in office.
This year, Manny Chevrolet is running for mayor of New Orleans. Manny Chevrolet said he did not care about your child's education. Manny Chevrolet said he could care less about crime in our streets. Manny Chevrolet said he didn't care about the homeless. Manny Chevrolet said New Orleans will get exactly what it deserves.
I'm Manny Chevrolet Bruno, and I approve this message.
Hell yeah. These are bad, right? I mean, at this point, I'm sure you and me both much rather have a candidate just not say anything at all. You have my vote, Gravel. I don't know who you are or what you stand for, but you have my vote. And as you can see, these ads are just like me when I'm telling the cops where David McFlaren's half-eaten body is. Out Dale. They start to play with this more sunny in Philadelphia kind of vibe, which would be dope if they weren't running for office. But they are. Okay, before we move on, I do want to take a minute and talk about the media.
Breaking fake news! Imagine creativity actually makes good content!
The media, the talkie to people, the guess what happened at 3 a.m. around your neighborhood that's gonna leave you in shock and make you feel like you have to stay in the little shell of a hole you built because everything's out to get you, nothing means anything, and oh god, it hurts, it hurts. Don't we all love it? I mean, we all think no matter where we get our news, it's gotta be trustworthy, right? I feel like in recent years, the term news has almost completely lost its original meaning. There was your traditional news, entertainment news, independent journalism, and so many more that we can't really get into today. Which means there's a lot of opportunity for misinformation, especially from these two. These two have had their fair share of misinformation juggernauts just like myself throughout the years. People like Rush Limbaugh.
Communities. They're dead serious about defunding the police and replacing the police with themselves.
Tucker Carlson.
The green M&M, you will notice, is no longer wearing sexy boots. Now she's wearing sensible sneakers. Why?
Laura Ingraham.
Free health care for people who break the law. And the taxes of legal workers will be raised to pay for it all.
And so many more, pushing stories solely based on fear and sometimes without any evidence at all. Which plays into one of the main pillars of campaign ads that we talked about earlier. Which I'd argue is a bigger issue than it already is. I mean, the news is supposed to be something we can trust. A pillar of light in the dark. A lighthouse to lead us to shore. Not a fucking siren song, but that's what it is in some cases. There's so many stories attacking minorities, trans people, furries, the fucking green M&M, and it's so mind-numbingly stupid. Because kids aren't fucking pissing in litter boxes across the country. The woke media isn't trying to make the green M&M less sexy because that would be impossible. And the woke media doesn't exist. And the news is supposed to be telling you what we really need to be watching out for.
Decreased an estimated 3% across the board, as you say. And we have other data that confirms that crime has continued to drop this year, the first half of 2024.
Not giving you this false sense of fear of this new boogeyman of the moment to pull your attention away from shit that's gotten us in this hole we're in.
The trans movement is targeting Christians, including with violence. Most Christian leaders in this country don't want to admit that. Admitting it might force them to take deeply unfashionable positions. But it is true, and anyone who's paying attention knows that it's true.
And trust me, I don't want to see my 356th article about a mass shooting in America, but I'm sure we'd all rather have that instead of what we have now. Just some lonely journalists pushing their opinionated stories through like a Saw-level game of telephone. You should have subscribed to Imagine Creativity. Okay guys, what did I say? Just when you thought that you reached the deepest depths of horror, it suddenly got worse. How to turn off that small voice in your head that started to whisper that you should be glad now, if not before. Your revenge was justifiable on any conceivable moral scale. That small voice has proved beyond any doubt that I was damned. What? These journalists usually fall between entertainment news or independent media. And that becomes a problem when someone like your tinfoil hat father decides to only watch those and tell everyone what he's heard about. Meaning you, people he works with, and even some extreme cases, all the kids that he's raising. Cause that guy fucks. It creates a false sense of urgency for a false problem. It's a nothing sandwich. And we have to start to combat this in some way. So when we see something that's a little out there or a little lizard oligarchist, instead of just moving on and taking it as fact, look into it. We have to look at sources inside and outside of our bubble. Don't just take it as fact from the guy who bought his tie from Old Navy. Don't just search for an I'mRight.com. It's okay to be wrong. It happens to all of us, no matter who you are. Just try to find the facts. So what's the deal with Ohio? I heard they gotta eat cats and dogs now. I mean, how hard does it have to rain to warrant that one, guys? Am I right? Get out! The year is now. Oh wait, no, I'm getting ahead of myself. It's actually around the prime of my YouTube channel.
Do it! Yesterday, you said tomorrow. Don't let your dreams be dreams.
I was a freshman in high school. The ticket was Hillary or Trump. And this time, the race was actually tight. Hey, sorry, Adlai. But with that comes new candidates and new campaigns. But something was different this time. Really different. We were just getting off the cusp of the Obama administration, and we were left with two very different candidates.
I'm beating him awfully badly in the polls.
But you're not beating Hillary.
But I'm trying to figure out how we get them to have Pokemon go to the polls.
One was a political veteran with a spotty past, kinda like me with women. And the other was an infamous reality show businessman. One played by the campaign playbook, and the other accused it of giving transgender
operations to illegal immigrants in prison.
So going in, I think we all knew these campaign ads were going to be a little different.
Know more about ISIS than the generals do.
John McCain, a war hero. He's not a war hero. He's a war hero. He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay?
Donald Trump compared his sacrifices to the sacrifices of two parents who lost their son in war.
How would you answer that, Father? What sacrifice have you made for your country?
I think I've made a lot of sacrifices, built great structures. I've had tremendous success. I think
those are
I've done a lot.
sacrifices?
Okay, this is new. We're now seeing actual footage of candidates at rallies or interviews being used directly against them in ads.
I'm Hillary Clinton, and I approve this message.
You can't lead this nation if you have such a low opinion for its citizens. How stupid are the people of the country?
We're building a wall.
He's a Mexican.
You got to see this guy. I don't know what I said. I don't remember.
And the ads, I don't know if you noticed, are a lot more direct. I really wonder, with this ad being the first one, what his response is gonna be.
The man who murdered Joshua is an illegal alien, and he should not have been here. The killer hit him in the head with a closet rod so hard that it broke in 4 pieces. Hillary Clinton's border policy is going to allow people into the country just like the one that murdered my son.
This isn't your Kennedy little bitch ad, and this is war. This is a candidate versus candidate race. A party versus party. The division in America is in full swing, and the debate later that year makes it so much more apparent. The choice not to shake hands would break an age-old tradition trailing back to that fucking GOAT Jimmy Carter when he shook hands with Ford back in 1976, which remained unbroken till now. I mean, it lasted through the Cold War, the plain thing YouTube doesn't like me to talk about, and multiple conflicts in the Middle East. But right here, it broke. Which I feel like signifies the divide that's been building for years, and this just being the catalyst. After this election came and went, the campaign ads across the aisle went from the usual
Harry voted for the Iraq War, opposed it, supported it, and now opposes it again.
to, let's just say, a more vicious approach.
I'm Marjorie Green and I approve this ad. They destroyed the NFL, they're destroying NASCAR, they're burning our cities and destroying our history. Socialist Democrats are dividing our country, claiming America is a racist nation. They're wrong. America is the greatest country on earth, and I'm running for Congress to keep it that way.
The shift from two-face, con man, liar, you and your party are going to radicalize our kids and destroy America, turning them all into transgender rat men. Fuck you. Is intense. And as the years progressed, we've seen a new form of advertisement arise. With a lot more LGB ideals. Liberty.
No, you've never met America. And you ought to pray you never do.
Taking on the corporate media.
Beer and guns.
I learned how to use and respect my rifle. In Afghanistan, I'd volunteer to be an extra gun in a convoy of unarmored SUVs.
I'm Joe Manchin, and I approve this message because for me, it's all about West Virginia.
So when people say I won't support guns, they're dead wrong.
Yeah, that's Dr. Ozzy himself. Woo! Celebrities in politics, we love. And I'm sure you guys are noticing a very heavy sentiment with all these ads. Hell yeah, that those liberals and them damn progressives are gonna take our guns. Right. And here's the thing, most of these policies that the leftist pinkos are dropping about gun control, gun restriction, aren't gonna take away your gun. They're there to restrict people who shouldn't have a gun. These policies are there and being introduced to protect us and the people we care about from being mowed down on a random Tuesday at a fucking water park. But in these modern ads, there's these disparities between what the reality of their intentions are and what is being portrayed in these ads.
It'll be American steel that sends our skyscrapers soaring.
Nowadays, we see a lot more politicians openly connected to conflicts of interest and lobbyists like the NRA, Exxon, Big Pharma.
Pharmaceutical companies put profits before patients.
And so since 2016, I feel like it's been more obvious than ever that these races are becoming no longer about the American people themselves, but the corporations. But of course, I'm getting ahead of myself because I do feel like there's a bigger issue needed to be tackled with these ads.
I'm Brian Kemp. You've heard about all my guns, my chainsaw, and my truck. Now career politician Casey Cagle is falsely attacking me. Why do you think that is, Jake?
Because you're a proud, hardcore Trump conservative on spending, immigration, and guns. Because Cagle's in a major corruption scandal and dropping like a rock in the polls?
You know what?
Sir.
You're starting to warm on me.
Yes, sir.
There's this almost narcissistic, I'm a patriot mindset, almost like the alpha male mindset we've talked about in other videos, floating around and trying to define what it means to be an American. Hey, it's American to vote and speak freely about your government, man, yeah. But instead it's...
You better love guns, hate illegals, and start gooning at the side of a love seat, brother.
Which we see a lot in modern ads.
Hi, I'm Michael Williams, and boy, do we have some exciting news to you. We have our bus tour ready to go, but it's not going to be one of those pansy political bus tours. We've got the deportation bus. That's right, you heard me, the Michael Williams deportation bus.
Safety on our streets and justice in our courtrooms are under attack because of Kamala Harris's dangerous liberal values. She's tried to hide it, but Kamala helped fund a group that released assaulters, murderers, even a registered sex offender charged with terrorizing, threatening, and raping an 8-year-old girl.
My values have not changed. Just kidding.
Which, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, that should rub you the wrong way. These ads are basically just trying to sell us a monkey's paw. Okay, before we continue, I want to paint a picture for you guys. I remember earlier this year, me and my dad watched the 1970s show All in the Family. It's a lighthearted series with the star being Archie Bunker, a bigoted, lighthearted, average American living in a changing world. It takes him and us through Nixon, draft dodging, trans rights, racism, and so many much more heavy topics.
Without giving me just one more chance to say I love you.
It's honestly an incredible journey into the American psyche that I think honestly still rings so true today. But there's something that always struck me as off, always struck me as wrong every time I watched it. Almost every time Archie would hear someone critique America, whether it be a systematic issue, a racial issue, or a truly problematic issue, he would meet it the same way every time.
That's right, because this is American land that I love.
Well, I love it too, Mr. Bunker, and it's because I do. I protest when I think things are wrong.
And stand beside her. And guide her.
The right to dissent is the principle upon which this country was based.
With the light from above.
Listen to me. It's in the Bill of Rights.
From the mountains.
Why do you think we broke away from England to begin with, huh? Because we didn't agree with her. We demanded freedom.
With folks.
Gee, it's guys like you. It's guys like you who don't listen to reason. I mean, you're not listening to anything. You're totally closed-minded. You're prejudice. You're prejudice. You're prejudice.
Which is so stupid. Isn't being a patriot and being a true-blooded American all about the ability to critique it? I mean, I personally love that I can make this video without a fear of losing an arm. But dog, we have some issues that we just have to address. The point of a free and fair country is the ability to speak out against it when it's not doing that. Am I right, guys? I feel like in modern politics, we start to get blatantly swayed right in front of our eyes like we're fucking idiots. Which, don't worry, this isn't something that just popped out the blue. This is something that's been building with people all the way back from the first campaign ads with policies I wouldn't dare say. Okay. Get crazy. The year is now. The race is between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump after Biden's Bluetooth disconnected mid-debate.
I've been able to do with the with the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare,
and the race is really fucking stressful. Modern campaign ads are in full swing with the 3 major pillars showing their beautiful colors off. Fear, credibility, misinformation. We have funny dance for 40 minutes guy.
I got my pickup truck, you know what's fucking up.
And crazy laugh? They have a debate, and for the most part, it goes off without much of a hitch?
She said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go. And the people that do go, she's bussing them in and paying them to be there and then showing them in a different light. So she can't talk about that. People don't leave my rallies. We have the biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics. That's because people want to take their country back. Our country is being lost. We're a failing nation.
It's time to run those ads, baby. So they start to run their ads, and of course Trump takes an anti-immigration approach, Kamala Harris takes a pro-women's rights approach. But of course, there's a little bit of attack.
Because of Kamala Harris's dangerous liberal values.
I think it's under control. I'll tell you what.
How? 1,000 Americans are dying a day.
They are dying. That's true. And it is what it is.
Fixing the border is tough. So is Kamala Harris.
It is wrong to somehow suggest that an undocumented immigrant is a criminal.
An undocumented immigrant is not a criminal. An undocumented immigrant is not a criminal.
But something rubs me wrong with all of this. Well, Kamala does take more of a traditional attack ad approach.
They'll stop at nothing.
Well, I got rid of Roe v. Wade.
The Republican Party is committed to banning access to abortion for all women in this country.
But Kamala Harris won't back down.
Time and time again, in most cases, what's being said is proven true through interviews in his own words.
And as far as the abortion ban, no, I'm not in favor of abortion ban, but it doesn't matter because this issue has now been taken over by the states.
But Trump seems to be using attack ads as a way to connect and talk to the American people.
Kamala Harris's radical ideas keep ending in tragedy. Harris raised money to fund the release of violent criminals like 𝚆𝚎𝚎𝚎.
The Minnesota Bail Fund promoted by Kamala Harris recently helped secure the release of a repeat felon who just got charged with murder.
This is America's border czar, and she's failed us. Under Harris, over 10 million illegally here. 250,000 Americans dead from fentanyl. Brutal migrant crimes. And ISIS now here.
But the problem with that is these claims made in these ads are time and time again shown to be heavily hyperbolized, if not just false altogether. Along with his ads stemming from a place of xenophobia.
Amnesty for 11 million illegal immigrants.
Citizenship for 11 million undocumented folks.
It really starts to put a bad taste in my mouth. Like, I'm not saying that the system's perfect or we don't need a complete overhaul of our border system, but I'm also not sitting here saying
every illegal to hop that there border is a murdering bad guy.
Because that would be a crazy, unmeasurable, racist statement. And Trump makes it so obvious to you and me that he's okay with thinking that way.
You know, when they I think the real number is 15, 16 million people into our country, when they do that, we got a lot of work to do. They're poisoning the blood of our country. That's what they've done.
Even if, of course,
there's no proof that any of this is true.
Which we see even with the ads he runs that don't even talk about the border.
With Trump taking a commanding lead and Bidenomics hurting American families, genius Hillary Clinton has come up with a way for Biden to win.
There needs to be a formal deprogramming of the cult members. Formal deprogramming of the cult members. Deprogramming of the cult members.
A brilliant plan. And here's what that would look like.
Pay attention. Joe Biden will defeat him.
This did not happen.
Biden has done an amazing job.
Kamala was in on it. She covered up Joe's obvious mental decline.
Our president is in good shape, in good health, tireless, vibrant, and I have no doubt about the strength of the work that we have done.
But Kamala knew Joe couldn't do the job, so she did it. Look what she got done. A border invasion, runaway inflation, the American dream dead.
The problem arises when it's someone in power like a past president because it creates this almost confirmation bias. It doesn't matter if it's true because if they keep on saying it over and over and over, most listeners are gonna take it and not look any deeper, which is so dangerous. We see that in full effect with likes of January 6th. The pandemic.
People are tired of hearing Fauci and all these idiots, these people.
The BLM protest and the 2020 election. That's why I think it's important that we talk about the likes of Jesse Waters, Alex Jones, Rush Limbaugh, because they're all doing the same thing when they have an outlet. All these insane stories are being pushed as fact or front page media, even though they're being filtered through a predetermined lens. And this is a far cry from the first ad that we looked at today.
Eisenhower answers America.
We have gotten way more divided, and politicians have gotten way more aggressive over the years.
Here's a guy that buys a house for $179,000. He sells it to a lobbyist who's probably here for $380,000, and then legislation is passed. You tell me about this guy. This is what we're going to have as president.
Here's the guy that inherited $200 million. If he hadn't inherited $200 million, you know where Donald Trump would be right now? Selling watches in Manhattan.
And another issue, I've seen a rise in 2024 campaigns especially that I think nails in my point of division and party versus party is the simple use of dog whistle language like liberal. It's almost being used as a demonizing term.
Kamala Harris, still dangerously liberal, still dangerous for America.
Socialist Democrats are dividing our country, claiming America is a racist nation. They're wrong.
Making the fight not only just about views, but now subconsciously sides, which I'm sure we've all seen in some capacity, even in our local government. Okay, so I live in Michigan. Right now, we have two candidates, Mike Rogers and Alyssa Slatkins. I've been following these two for a while, looking at their stances on things and their views and beliefs, and even going as far as watching a local debate. I know. But with following them, I did notice something that made me really uneasy that separates their ads.
I'm Alyssa Slotkin. It's been a long campaign, so let's cut through the noise. I want to be your senator because I understand what it means to serve. 3 tours in Iraq alongside the military, working for 2 presidents, 1 from each party. And I know what it means to be tested, fighting the insurance companies when my mom battled cancer. Look, no one knows the future. What I can tell you is I will always say what I mean and mean what I say. That's who I am. It's why I'm asking for your vote and why I approve this final message.
Alyssa Slotkin's lying about EV mandates.
No one's gonna mandate anything.
Just 3 weeks ago, Slotkin voted for Biden's EV mandate and voted to ban gas cars. Slotkin's lying to hide her secret deal that helped a Chinese EV company.
I mean, that's insane. One is asking for your vote, explaining their plan to you. The other is like,
Slotkin's lying.
And to prove to you that I didn't just pick one to fit my narrative, and I'm trying to be as unbiased as humanly possible with this, here's another set.
I'm Alyssa Slotkin. I've spent my career serving our country in the CIA and the Pentagon. So when I got to Congress, I was shocked by the influence of money. So I got to work. Stock trading by members of Congress? No brainer. Ban it. Corporate PAC money? Never taken it, never will. Ban it. I approve this message because I'll never put corporate interests ahead of what's right.
Congresswoman Slotkin is lying. Here's the truth. Slotkin supports a radical plan that puts 44 Michigan hospitals at risk of closure. She voted to restrict Michiganders' access to new medications that would cure illness. And Slotkin voted to increase Medicare costs for seniors by 57%, leaving us struggling just to make ends meet. Mike Rogers will fight to protect seniors' Medicare and Social Security benefits, just like he did when he passed the bill allowing Medicare to cover the cost of prescription drugs. Slotkin works for Washington. Mike Rogers fights for Michigan.
And honestly, if I didn't know any better, I would think this Alyssa Slotkin's character is a crook and a real, politician. But I have followed both candidates and what, in their own words, they have told us what they stand for, and the claims in Mike's ads are utter bullshit, which for me becomes so much more blatantly obvious with this next ad.
Alyssa Slotkin votes yes to a lot of bad things. Slotkin voted yes to allowing states to ban gasoline-powered vehicles. That would devastate Michigan's economy. Yes to allowing taxpayer subsidies to a foreign battery maker that laid off Michigan workers. And yes to denying farm aid to white farmers just because of their skin color. Vote no to Alyssa Slotkin. She is too liberal and too risky for Michigan. Senate leadership.
Yeah! Not only is this something that only a racist Facebook ant could repost, but this is also only something that Facebook's Meta kindergarten AI could only cook up.
Okay, then go do your group project with Lane.
No, Lane has bad ideas. I don't want to go do group with him.
Oh, I'm sure he has great ideas. I mean, look at him.
And this is something that I have personally seen transcend just televised ads and come straight to my doorstep. Over the past few months, I have received tens of flyers with this same exact rhetoric all over it. Clickbait, scare, divide. I mean, come the fuck on. What is this? I mean, wow. This is either complete bullshit trying to sway the American vote, or this is something that runs so deep and for so long that for hundreds of years the reptilian deep state have not been able to uncover the pedophilic elite and bring to justice all these gross people who keep getting into power no matter what we do. I'm just kidding. It's our old good friend, fear. Modern fear-mongering is a beast in itself. It's no longer the time of,
oh, gee willikers, if I don't go out and vote, Mr. Eisenhower said that the world might go nuclear.
Instead, now it's filled with these much more blatant attacks against opposing candidates being perpetuated by a group of people who realize fear sells more than ever. 2016 was the straw that broke the camel's back. With Trump winning the White House in 2016 despite his rhetoric, it was almost like a green light. A go-ahead. It gave almost like an A-OK for these people and politicians who are okay using fear, credibility, and misinformation to divide Americans, which allowed campaign ads to get crazier than ever. I mean, they're blatantly lying to the American people by this point. Fear is a son of a bitch, man, and it controls all of us, whether we like it or not. 2020 proved that. Fear should make us question the system in productive ways. Not just, hey, fuck protocol. But these open and blatant lies through campaigns, media, and fear-mongering muddy up the water. But why can they lie? Well, that's because of the Communications Act of 1934, which as of 1999 prohibits any station to deny a political ad solely on the grounds that they don't sell that time slot or it runs too long, giving them almost free reign. There is a lot more to this legal Charlottesville web that makes it a lot harder to navigate, but pretty much they're allowed to lie and openly misinterpret quotes or stances that the opposing candidate has, which we can all agree is fucked up, right? But that's something time and time again we have allowed, and we need to start to change. I feel like whether you like it, here and now is the boiling point for American politics especially. Like guys, there is so much fear, hatred, and venom coursing through our veins as Americans right now, and we need to choose right now what we're gonna do with it. Are we gonna continue on this 10-year boil of hatred in a divided America? Or are we gonna, as the cool kids would say, let them cook? I mean, since 2016, we've had spikes in violence with likes of Charlottesville. Oh my God. Police brutality. And January 6th. With it all being met by the higher-ups with a complete lack or misunderstanding of empathy with these movements. Or almost a full endorsement of the actions that were taken that needed to be reprimanded.
Joe DeGenova today asked for Chris Krebs, a patriot who ran CISA, to be shot. A 20-something tech in Gwinnett County today has death threats and a noose put out saying he should be hung for treason because he was transferring a report on batches from an EMS to a county computer so he could read it. It has to stop. Mr. President, you have not condemned these actions or this language. Senators, you have not condemned this language or these actions. This has to stop.
I've come to bring a word of warning. Stop what you're doing before it's too late. Crime and savagery will only increase with every Haitian you bring in. And with it, public frustration and anger.
You sound threatening to me. I'm going
Based on the comments
if I could
tonight,
ask the police to go ahead.
I'm
and
sure I don't need to tell you that.
Just sound threatening if you go ahead and just peacefully be removed.
These people didn't ask for this.
There should be no place and definitely no quiet endorsement of these kind of actions. I feel like sometimes we all forget we're all human. We're all living our own existence, our own purpose, or our own storybook. It's not just about me. We seem to get lost in our own selfishness at times, using even the argument,
it won't affect me, so I'm just gonna vote. No.
But it fucking does. We are a country that has used a mixing pot of people to grow. We have pushed these people down. We have affected these people. But that kind of ideology is why we're in the situation we're in now. We need to stray away from past generations' mistakes of just going, and starting to look at these issues and these morals that we hold so dearly past our own beliefs. There's always another side to it. The whole two-party system is built for us just to fall in line, for us to go, oh, I'm red, oh, I'm blue, and just follow with that sheep mentality. But look where it's gotten us. The people we elect pave the way to our future, our kids' futures, and to making this world just a little bit kinder. No matter what election, big or small, local or national, it has a bigger impact than any of us could ever fathom. From gas to inflation to the economy, your local government can do a lot for you. I mean, I've seen this firsthand in Detroit in 2013 when Kilpatrick bankrupted the city.
We have breaking news. Detroit has filed for bankruptcy. It is now the largest city in U.S. history to file for Chapter 9 bankruptcy. We will hear from Governor Rick Snyder live in just a few minutes.
And Detroit's seeing the opposite effect now with Mike Duggan as he tries to help Detroiters pull themselves out of the pit that elected officials helped create. Guys, it's a cause and effect world. And so it's important to figure out where that effect is coming from. Don't blame the president themselves for food prices. Blame the corporations making record profits and help to find ways and laws to change them so we get a piece of what we so desperately as Americans and people deserve. To work to live, not live to work. And remember, even when you think your vote just doesn't matter, it takes a village to raise a child. What do you think happens if the hunter suddenly decides that their job isn't important anymore? The whole village suffers. And trust me, I know a candidate may not check off everything on your checklist, but progress is a staircase. You can't just skip every step. You gotta decide whether you want to step up or step down. Like, trust me, a big issue in this election is the Palestine conflict. And trust me, I'm free Palestine until it's fucking backwards. But neither candidate seems to hold that radical of a stance on it. Trump is pro-Israel and Kamala is like that really awkward friend that's getting hit on but doesn't know how to tell him to stop.
Stop it! Oh, no.
But one is a lot less Mein Kampf about it, guys. You gotta take wins where you can get them, no matter how small. And of course, remember, the candidate shouldn't be treated as a cult leader. So please, on November 5th, if you haven't already, for everyone you care about and love, go out and vote. Vote not just for yourself, but vote for love, equality, and unity. I know it's a super polarizing time right now in the country, and it feels like it's either my side or no side. And I want to walk a fine line here so it doesn't just feel like a virtue signaling to you guys. And I truthfully and unbiasedly believe the only step forward for a more promising future for everyone, whether we like it or not, is with Kamala and Walz. We need people who can reach across the aisle and work together, not someone who's gonna block a bipartisan bill against the will of the American people just to make your campaign look better. And trust me, I've had a lot of close friends be avid Trump supporters through the years and try to show me what they see in him and what good he can do for the country. But right now, no matter how you feel, he's not a risk we can take. I mean, his rhetoric alone shouldn't be celebrated. Everything from the rallies.
You guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico.
The hate.
Well, revenge does take time, I will say that.
It does.
And sometimes revenge can be justified, Phil. I have to be honest. You know, sometimes it can. If I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole... That's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country.
The fact that all of his closest allies from the past administration has came out airing out his dirty laundry, and that's not even accounting the fact that he's a 34-count felon with ties to 2025 and authoritarian promises he says again and again.
Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed, it'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. You know, when they let, I think the real number is 15, 16 million people into our country, when they do that, we got a lot of work to do. They're poisoning the blood of our country. That's what they've done. They poison.
I feel like it's pretty obvious who's a path to revenge and hatred for a divided America, and who's a path to change and promise for a repairing America. And after watching these ads, I can start to understand why so many people support him, why he won in 2016, why he still has such a big following. It's because he's so good at selling one thing: fear. In this masquerade of virtues, the beaming light of dawn echoes onto the bleeding heart of the blind, praying and hoping for a tide to pull it to shore instead of washing away its faith in this foul game we call life. The choice is a game of tag, and we're it. I wanted to leave this on an optimistic note, hoping that our country would band together and, as one, say, I'm voting for the women, the children, and the underprivileged in this country. But sadly, that didn't happen. We as Americans, for now, have failed to pave a brighter future for our friends and family. Last night was a full sweep of the House, the Senate, and even governors up for re-election, with it all ending with Donald Trump becoming the next president. Which, guys, this has a bigger implication than you might think. Trump's presidency and what he promises to do in the Oval Office will more than likely be felt way past our lifetimes. And with almost every single branch of government having a majority of people who now support and align themselves with them, it's just gonna make passing policies, laws, and tariffs so much easier. And this dude has some crazy policies.
We will ensure our classrooms are focused not on political indoctrination, but on teaching the knowledge and skills needed to succeed. Reading, writing, math, science, arithmetic, and other truly useful subjects. Fourth, we will teach students to love their country, not to hate their country like they're taught right now. Fifth, we will support bringing back prayer to our schools. I was proudly the person responsible for the ending of something that all legal scholars, both sides, wanted and, in fact, demanded be ended. Roe v. Wade.
I think there are going to be a lot of legal questions as to whether and to what extent he can use the military for that purpose and declare a national emergency. But I think the idea is to leverage resources that the military has to bolster what immigration and customs enforcement and Department of Homeland Security more generally have.
These actions alone have serious implications that more than likely are going to affect someone you know in an extreme way. 2 Supreme Court justices are up for retirement, and that doesn't even include the 2 that Trump put in the last time he was in office back in 2020. We've seen in our day-to-day lives how 2 Trump-appointed Supreme Court justices can affect us.
At the Supreme Court today, an historic upheaval. In a sweeping ruling that overturned a half a century of precedents, 5 justices ended the right of American women to choose abortion under the Constitution. The court upheld Mississippi's ban on abortions after 15 weeks by a 6-3 vote, and 5 of those justices went even farther, voting to overturn Roe v. Wade itself.
Welcome to the News Hour. In one of its most anticipated rulings of the year, the Supreme Court declared that former President Donald Trump is immune from criminal prosecution for any so-called official act taken as president, but not unofficial ones taken as a candidate.
He'll pretty much have a golden pathway to do anything he wants, including Project 2025, which, no matter how often he says he's not a part of, he has made it very clear by the people he surrounds himself with and the policies and stances he takes, he's very much a part of it. Even one of his cabinet picks being a co-writer and co-founder of the project itself. And here's the thing. I'm pretty sure I know the arguments and the counterpoints that are going to be thrown at me in this video.
Well, prices were cheaper when he was in office, dude.
Well, guys, you have to remember that Trump inherited Obama's economy. And usually it takes a few years, unless something drastic happens, like tariffs, for the American people to see what the current president is actually doing for them in the economy. On top of that, in 2020, supply and demand went way down because of a pandemic that happened under his presidency. So personally, I don't think 1.2 million American lives is worth gas being a little bit cheaper.
Well, he said a bunch of crazy stuff during his first term, so what's the real difference here, dude?
In 2016, he didn't have his shit together. Now he does. He has a vice president that has openly said he'd do what Mike Pence wouldn't do.
The joint session having concluded pursuant to Senate Concurrent Resolution 1, 117th Congress, the chair declares the joint session dissolved.
All of his cabinet and staff have seemed to be picked solely based off of blind loyalty, with some of the picks being, honestly, something out of the Twilight Zone. I mean, seriously, what the fuck is this? I'm just gonna give you guys a second to look at this graph, and this isn't even touching the surface. What the fuck? Right?
Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
I'm gonna let him go wild on health. I'm gonna let him go wild on the food.
The team to include former Florida Congressman Dr. Dave Weldon for CDC Director, Fox News medical contributor Dr. Jeanette Nesheswat for Surgeon General, and Johns Hopkins surgeon and researcher Dr. Marty Makary to head the FDA. All of them expected to be disruptors to public health, potentially changing how medicines and food are evaluated.
His stances on abortion, LGBTQ and trans people.
Sarah McBride won the Delaware congressional seat, becoming the first transgender person elected to Congress.
I'm not going to stand for a man, if someone with a penis is in the women's locker room, that's not okay.
Women's rights, the economy, and environmental issues are all things that we're gonna feel for a long time to come. And that's not even getting into how much of a humanitarian crisis his whole mass deportation immigration idea is. And honestly, there is really so much more I could get into that would take hours, and we're already running super long, but it's still things that I feel like you guys should know about and is really important to. I heavily suggest checking out all of these super in-depth videos on what the next 4 years could look like and how our voting system and the system as a whole, whether it be gerrymandering or the way that our voter suppression works, I recommend checking it out because it can open your eye of how important your singular vote can truly be. all we can really do for now is continue to fight peacefully and as groups to tell them what the American people truly want, what we aren't willing to go back to. So please, don't let your voices be drowned out. Don't let some of us have to go back into the shadows or have to bleed to death in a hospital parking lot because the lack of care and the doctor's too scared to operate on them. I truly believe not a single American wants that for someone. All in all, guys, we're all humans, and I think it's about time we start treating each other as we are. So please, for the time being and the time moving forward, push for equality, think outside yourself, and advocate for others, not just how you feel. Because like I said earlier, there's two sides to every story, and just because you're living one doesn't mean the other side's invalid. Anyways, here's the outro that I originally had planned if I got this video out in time, and it's not even gonna really make sense. So it's totally out of place now, and while you enjoy that, I'm gonna go join Joe Biden in the Amazon rainforest. Bye! Hi, Joe. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and... Yo, what's wrong?
I just want to do top comment for you today real bad. I feel worse than a hay bale casting extra on the hit show Rifleman. I've been so mean to you.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine, man. If you want to go ahead and do top comment, that's okay with me.
I'll bet. Today's top comment comes from Young Nay Method 1041, and they say, I'm so confused. Is this channel ripping from another already famous YouTuber, or is this guy just pumping these cream pies for our little, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, I know. That's kind of why I had you do it, you know?
You could've fucking told me that, brother.
If you guys want to be top comment, make sure you leave a comment down below, show one of your friends, and please, if you haven't already, and if it's not too late, go out and vote. Any election, anytime, it is important. We can build a better America and a better world by just playing our part and staying educated to the bare minimum. And remember, no matter what you think, there is never a good enough reason not to vote. I mean, give me one. Good. Come on. See? That's a
damning non-answer.
All the links will be below to figure out your nearest polling place, how to register to vote for future elections this election. I know it's a little late for the presidential election to register to vote, but it is important to just have that ready. Make sure if you made it through this whole video, you leave a like and you share it to a friend, so hopefully we can pave a pathway to peace, unity, and love for everyone in this world. And if you're not American and you made it through this, I got one thing to say to you, brother.
Fuck you!
But anyways, I'm gonna see you guys in the next video where I become Glover Cleveland's footrest so I can figure out all these juicy little secrets and figure out what that Krabby Rap Patty recipe do, guy. Whatever, peace. They just bathing in the money like our people ain't worth saving. So when I see the system, it's a guarantee that I'll drop the fucking match with the kerosene. It's we the fucking people and we gotta stand united. We crying if they poison the water, guess who's dying? So we gotta ask the question, don't say fuck it to the timing. Do you really love your country or are you dying right beside it? What time is it? Where the fuck did I put my watch? Ah, chump, you have my watch.
And I'm going to keep it. It's mine, and that's the way I want to have it.